We don't live life for others, we live life for ourselves. So one of the best things one can do is to take bold moves forward. We are to be bold and courageous, but many times in this life, it's a challenge for many to be bold and courageous, because everywhere you turn, there's something going on that wants to give you something to fear. But that's not how we're designed. We're actually not designed to just always be in fear. How will we take dominion over the earth if we're in fear? That doesn't go together. So, is this why all of these methods to instill fear in you are present in this very moment and in the timeline that we've been dropped into? And many timelines before us, before this timeline currently? I would think so. When you don't take bold moves forward and you do what your soul desires, you suffer because you're not answering your soul's cry. And our main focus in life should always be to tend to our soul's cry and act within our spirit's grace. And I've never said that before, act in our spirit's grace. I feel as though that means to give your spirit grace, because many times we let logic take over because it's just easy to, but when you move in the spirit, that's intuition. That's magical, because that is an aspect of you that it can only be seen through your actions, your words, how you perceive the world, your emotions. That's how we see the spirit of a person. It's how they move, it's what they think, But when you give yourself grace, because we are all our own person, so, and that's a good thing, it's good for us to have our own opinion of various topics that we all experience, or that many of us experience. When you have your own opinion and you don't have to look to the left or to the right to formulate an opinion, then that means that you are acting from that God mind that you have. That means that you're activated. When one often needs to get validation from any external force in order to make a decision, then that is proof that that person is being controlled. And also, someone who is so used to taking orders, which it's good to know how to take orders, because it shows that it shows that you are able to comprehend instruction. Because if you can't comprehend instruction, you wouldn't be able to, in the future, give instruction. So, being able to take instruction is a student. We are all students. I feel like we should be students for our entire lives, at least a certain aspect of us, if we are not well versed in a certain topic. However, that doesn't mean that one would not have expertise in other areas and be able to speak on certain things fluidly. So once you become comfortable and fluid in a certain topic, to where you have like a even flow and you're not thinking too hard about what you're saying, you're just expressing oneself, that's when you become an expert on the topic. And I don't think many of you realize that you can actually be an expert of your own life's experiences. Because if you take time to reflect on situations in your life, you learn from them. And when you learn from them and you're actually able to express what you have learned and you believe that it could possibly help someone else, that's when you become very well versed, because you have the experience. And when you have the experience, you know. Even if other people don't agree with you, that's okay. Everyone is not meant to agree, because people come from different cultures, different belief systems, different backgrounds. They were raised differently. So not everyone is going to agree all of the time. But that just goes to show that we do have individuality. And I feel as though as long as when you move, you're always moving with good intention, it should be accepted to accept people for who they are, as long as they're not, how can I say this? As long as they're not out to harm people, because everyone's different, so we're just not going to agree with everything. But it doesn't mean that we can't agree on some things with certain people that you may have some disagreements with when it comes to what they believe and what they know to be true for them. So what is true to one person may not be true to another, because that's not what they believe. And that is okay. It's fine. And that's what it needs to be recognized, that it's okay to have differences. It's all right. But it's not okay to have so much to say and say nothing at all, because it doesn't feel good. It's like putting yourself on punishment. I heard a muzzle, like muzzling yourself. It's one thing to be mindful of what you say and aware of what you're saying, because many people who speak have influence and people will listen. So when you speak, it's good to speak from a place of good intention to help your brother and sister and not harm them. God created you to be bold and courageous and speak from a place of love and authenticity. When you do that, weight that has been heavy on your heart is lifted. You know those times in your life when you had something that you really wanted to say to someone, and it could be anybody, and you chose not to say it, and that decision would pop up in your mind and haunt you, and it's like you're thinking to yourself, I really should have said that because I really wanted to say that and I didn't say it. Now that person has no idea what I wanted to say to them. And it could be anything. It could be something good or bad. It's just the fact that I'm just showing an example of how affected we are when we have something that we want to say and we don't say it. I think that's one of the things that can actually frustrate a person. Too many words left unsaid can weigh down the heart. Too many words left unsaid. So be bold and courageous. But when you do use that aspect of yourself, make sure you're doing it for a good reason, not just to be intentionally trying to harm someone. It's not meant for that. All that we have is meant to be used according to the situation. So it really just depends on what's going on around you and how to respond to what's happening around you. Because certain situations call for certain how can I say that? Certain situations call for, I don't want to say certain evaluations. So many times in life we have to evaluate a situation before we can respond to it, because if we respond too quickly, we may not really respond how we wanted to. We might just react in the moment because whatever was said or done could have such an impact on your emotions that you don't think too much first before you speak or respond. So it just makes sense to evaluate situations so that you could fall back and make a proper decision, a decision that you actually want to make, as opposed to feeling like your back is up against the wall and you have to rush to make a decision. Because anytime I feel like when individuals are rushed, they don't like that. People don't like to be rushed. People just want to relax. And I mean, maybe some people do like to rush. I'm not sure, because I really can't speak for everyone. I guess that's the best way to put it. However, you live a much more pleasant life when you get things done in due time at a good pace, and you're not like in chaos all the time, trying to rush to get things done and causing yourself frustration, misplacing things because you're moving too fast and you're not really thinking, you're just moving. So when you move, it's good to actually think, So God has just placed this message on my heart this morning to share, because it is important for us to take bold moves forward with courage, because when you do that, you actually begin to encounter a life that you never knew could be your own. And the reason why that happens is because you stop living from a place of fear and you live from a place of I am, and I can, and I will, and I have already. So it's like you walk from a place that's more defined, because you know yourself and you know your intentions are pure, and you don't second guess yourself. When you begin to second guess yourself off the strength of what you think other people will say, it diminishes your own character. And I say that because you lose a part of yourself. And that's the bold, courageous aspect of you. And that aspect of you is needed in order for you to activate God's plan in your life. God is bold to just say, let there be light, and there is light. That's bold, because God believed that what I say will be. So when we move the same way and we say what I say will be, it will be, because that's what you believe. What you believe becomes your frequency, and the universe has no choice but to give you what you said is yours. Yeah. And that's the message.